When I drove the Mercedes-AMG GT-R recently, I mentioned that everyone's attention was on the Pro and the Black Series, and the Porsche GT3 is sort of the same. Everyone talks about the RS Weissach and GT2RS, and it's easy to forget just how good a regular GT3 can be. Despite having owned countless Porsches including a GT3RS and now a GT2RS, Nigel and Harry, who own this 991 Gen 2 GT3, still think that, pound for pound, this is about as good as it gets. Well, thanks to them and Porsche Sheffield, who they bought the car from, we're going to put the GT3 through its paces on our local test route to find out if you could possibly want anything more.
Just like Nigel and Harry, I make no secret of my love for these things either, but somehow I've never driven a 991 GT3. I've driven an RS on this very road, but this is that little bit less hardcore, slightly narrower tyres, so it could be that this is actually the better tool for the road. I love the combo Harry's gone for on this car on the outside. Guards red with the gold wheels. Inside we've got the folding carbon bucket seats rather than the 918 ones, and they're just absolutely perfect. You sit so low, they hug you in, but they're strangely comfortable at the same time, and that's the story for the whole car. If you do have to settle it down, the suspension's strangely comfortable, the seats are. It's a lot more refined than you might expect for a GT3, for a car that looks like this does. We'll blip it down a few. Being a Gen 2 car, unlike the Gen 1, which was PDK only, you can get this with a 6-speed manual. This one is the 7-speed PDK, and I'll leave the PDK versus manual argument to the comments. All I'll say is it is an absolutely flawless gearbox. Sometimes it's a little bit too flawless. I kind of like how Ferraris give you a massive thump in the back. This is just seamless. And the downshifts, let's do 2 at once. It does exactly what you want when you want it. I love manuals like the next guy, but God, this is so good. I haven't really touched on that masterpiece you can hear behind me yet, have I? We've got the same 4-litre naturally aspirated flat 6 as you get in the RS, but here we've got 500 horsepower instead of 520, but it still revs to 9,000 RPM just like the RS. And if one of these things didn't sound mad enough to you anyway, Harry's added a JCR exhaust to it, and I wish you were here to listen to it in person because it's pure race car. It's so loud. People mourn the loss of the Metzger engine from the older generations with this direct injection unit, but just listen to it. I've done a lot of miles on a 997 GT3, and yeah, it's a magnificent motor. But with this, you still get that characteristic chuntery idle. It's still really mechanical, but it screams at an even higher pitch. It's got even more torque. Trust me, you don't miss it. It is an absolute masterpiece of an engine. This has got the optional carbon ceramic brakes, which, as you would expect, are awesome. And the handling as well. That's what a GT3 is all about, isn't it? I've banged on about the engine, but really, a GT3 is about handling. You drive other cars and you're impressed by how they handle, like the AMG GT-R. But after basically anything, you get in a GT3 and it is a revelation. Just how light it feels. I know it's strange these days that 500 horsepower is not all that much, and the acceleration alone won't blow you away, but the whole package together absolutely will. I should mention this recently had a full suspension set up by Suspension Secrets, and whilst I didn't drive it before, Harry tells me you can really tell the difference. All I can say is it feels unflappable, and the way this thing turns in is ridiculous. You drive other sports cars and supercars and think they handle well, but then you tip one of these into a corner and it's just on another level. I mean, people like me bang on about this all the time with GT3s, but if you drive one you'll understand why. To echo what Nigel said to me this morning, it's the ultimate all-round sports car for me.
So yeah, no real shock there, was there? The GT3 is epic. You knew that before you watched the video, didn't you? The way it goes, stops, turns, changes gear, even the way it feels to be in, and the purposeful but not OTT way it looks. It might be as close to perfection as a car gets for me. I'll accept it might be a bit too flawless for some. If you like a gearbox to thump you in the back, if you like the feeling that a car might kill you at any moment, or if you like how special a proper supercar feels when you can barely see out of it, the GT3 might not be your cup of tea. But if you want the most scintillating track-focused road car to simply grab by the scruff of the neck and essentially morph into over the twisties while the hairs on your neck stand on end at that motorsport screen, this is what you want. If you force me to criticise it, the exhaust valves aren't open all the time even in loud mode, so I'd resolve that with an ASBO remote. The RS is incrementally more again, and the GT2RS is absolutely brutal. But especially for the money you can get them for, there's just something about the regular GT3. And today has only gone and confirmed that I'd better get saving, because I must have one of these one day.